So you don't take, Senator Manzo, you are not there. But he should have been there. I think he thought he should have been there, and others. So I'm not able to see who is right at the back. Or is it Wakili Boniface? No. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to do a very simple thing, and that is to launch this book. I asked myself, JB, why did you make me the chief guest? Is it because you thought I should buy very many books tonight and to give out there? Or is it because I may have written an autobiography for myself, and the title of which is Against All Odds and which is due for revision? Or is it because I'm older than you? I think it's because of the latter. That I realize this guy is 3 years younger than me, and he's from my neighborhood. I don't know why Brother Rigiji claims Muturi for his own kinsmanship. Because if you listen to JB speak Kikamba, he speaks without an accent. Even the way he pronounced my name before he came here, that's not the normal way you pronounce my name, because he is fluent. And then his home is near Ishara. From Kanyambora, where Lenny and him come from, to Sekuru is actually just less than maybe 30 kilometers. Now from there to Rigiji's place is very far. So we share in, but I had Rigiji make some very interesting distinction, that him is a brother and I'm a cousin. That imagine Lenny and JB is brothers, but I am Rigiji's cousin. But we all felt that anybody who is feeling the weight of misrule, overtaxation, is actually a cousin. I think that is why JB asked me to come and really nail it for him. JB, you're a very frank person. And allow me to tell you that Uhuru Kenyatta should have been here. But as you asked me to mention that he will not make it, I remember when we are reviewing the possibility of coming tonight, you told me you suspect if Uhuru Kenyatta had read the book completely, he may not have signed the foreword. But I think he did. And he makes some wonderful remarks about who you are. When I saw Fred Matiang'i, I asked him, have you read the book? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually now marketing this book for you. My brother, my younger brother, JB, as we call you. Because out there, we are here launching a book written by a stickler, not only for the rule of law, but one who believes in the separation of powers. He has lived, he has served in both the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. One of our foremost statesmen, I dare say without any hesitation, and one who is also fearless. Even as we sat there with JB, I told him, do you remember this friend who is running out of the country, is all over the place, and is trying to tell JB and I to mention that somebody at the very high level is already received a $10 million bribe to bring in rice from Pakistan or wherever. That is JB Muturi. And so I feel truly honored to associate myself with you, and also a party leader of Democratic Party. The founding Kiongozi, as you all know, was a gentleman I was privileged to serve under as his vice president. Not that he appointed me, but I negotiated. I learned a lesson in life. And it's somebody, when we went A lot of you may not know, I was also Deputy Speaker one time between the years 1989 to 1992. And then I went for an IPU conference, somewhere I think in Togo. And we wanted the late Joseph Muliro. How many of you remember Joseph Muliro? He was Assistant Minister one time for Foreign Affairs. And we wanted him to join the 9-member committee of parliamentarians from all over the world dealing with matters to do with climate change. And so we had some formidable challenges from that region, some of them claiming authority of their speakers. And I coined a phrase. I said, in business, you don't get what you deserve. That is generally said. You get what you negotiate. So I learned that and applied it with President Kibaki. We negotiated by being 10th Vice President. But that is part of the history. But I also learned another useful tactic. And I think that is what this Kenya Kwanza administration has been applying. And that was that in order to get Joe Muliro appointed as a member of the IPU Committee of Parliamentarians on Climate Change, we realized that our competitors had no time for us, and so they didn't care about the qualities, the qualifications of Joe Muliro. So I said, as the leader of delegation, because as Deputy Speaker, we'll apply the following formulation. If you cannot really dazzle them with brilliance, then baffle them with bullshit. There's a lot of bullshitting around. And because that is what really is holding this country at ransom. And it's all written and elaborated under this wonderful work of art, as Rigiji put it. First of all, JB is summoned by J. Muturi, who wants a meeting of the Speaker of the National Assembly, the 11th edition, and calls him and say, JB, can you come to State House tomorrow? He didn't say, he said, what time, Mr. President? And then he said, you contact Jay, you'll arrange the logistics and the time. So JB shows up, the Speaker of the National Assembly. And whom does he find? He finds Fred Matiang'i, Interior. And he also finds Kibicho, Karanja Kibicho, the PS. It's all there, Fred. That's why I said, if you read it, you have to really know that we are dealing with a very honest person in the tradition of the truthful man. And he says it there. He says he told President Uhuru Kenyatta, you cannot do this. I am the Speaker of Parliament. There is a principle of separation of powers. And he called Kibicho and Fred some very nice names there, because he was angry with what he thought was an aggression on the principle of separation of powers. He does the same, and of course others also at the time in the book, if you read, where, for example, you see, we are making him look like a wonderful person, but the human being in JB had to face the role of Mr. Njeru. Now, in that we share. When I was in Meru School in Form 5 and 6, our headmaster was Mr. Njeru, who once became the Director of Education. And one time and I think that's why I sharpened my negotiation skills at Form 6, because we went on strike. Mr. Njeru said, the Form 6, in all one accord, have decided to fail. We actually turned out that time in Meru School, the class of 1973, as number 4 in the country, because we are refusing to eat stuff we are calling fufu. But we had given Mr. Njeru a nickname of Mr. Amin. We call him Mid Amin because the way he used to walk, and he was, students always deal with their head teachers. Now, Mr. JB's Njeru accused him of teasing girls and pinching them. I don't know, JB, in your years at the university or before you went to university, if that was your characteristic. These days it can constitute a very serious offense for which men actually get impeached, not in Kenya, in other places of the world. So he lays it bare, including the role he had with his Mbere clansman who spoke here, Lenny Kivuti. Serious rivalry at their level. One region or whatever. He had actually also changed his name. Read that book. It's an amazing work of art. But he actually then says there, I will not sign it. That was JB. It is out there. And they say, release my son. We have seen the story of Leslie. So JB, when you write your next book, and I want to agree with my brother Rigiji, let us go through this season, because it's a very, very important season, pregnant with all types of expectation. And when, God willing, we get to Canaan, you will then have time to read and to write a wonderful thing. I want to read a book written by Rigiji, because he has written a very nice chapter already. He has seen it all. He paid his brother in kind. I don't know how many deputy presidents world over would be able to stand up and get a president to go down when he's going to announce the names. And he actually gets them. That is the art of negotiation and also transparency. If indeed we are a government or a country that believes in the rule of law and democracy, then we have to be like Rigiji. I just come from Luo Nyanza. And please don't ask me where I got the 100 cows from. That's my own secret. Some think I keep a lot of cows. It is true. In addition to growing green grams, we call them dengu, we also keep some cows. And we went out there, and I forgot to salute the champion of devolution, certainly a champion of democracy, the late Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. I just failed to salute because I was wearing Mukunji, remember, I was looking like you today. I really miss out just to salute him and to say the struggle continues, la luta continua. I wrote that in my remarks and bidding him farewell. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a country you all love. And this is a country we know at a critical time like this, if we buckle, if we falter, then it is like what Shakespeare said, the rest of the voyage is really taken. If we don't take this high tide, then the rest of our lives will be lived in mystery. And the lives of Kenyans will not be exactly what JB Muturi would have wanted. By laying things bare, telling it as it is, and I have read also as a senior counsel, I can tell you none of that stuff is actionable. Nobody will sue you, because I think you took that into account. But you also put it openly. So I'm so honored to be able to launch this book. And the fight, not just for democracy, the fight for order in our country. And of course, if you know, in the tradition of the British speakership, I really like to see there's a speaker who was presiding of, I think, impeachment of one of those prime ministers. And I said, as many as of that opinion say aye, aye, as many as the contrary opinion say nay, the ayes have it, the ayes have it, unlock. Unlock is a very interesting situation. Kembe, my classmate, also remember he was a deputy speaker in the Senate. That order for our country is really what is critical at this time. And I want to urge of all of us as we read this book to unlock our country, to realize that we cannot live in a country that believes in abducting his own children. And I think in one, he quotes that proverb, JB, in one of quoting that African proverb, when an hyena wants to eat his children, the hyena looks at them and says, "You smell like a goat." We must do whatever it takes. We do not have another time or anything to squander. We have a country literally to liberate and to live the spirit of the young Kenyans who have become a phenomenon world over. Who would have imagined that the very suave Tanzanians, suave, Watanzania wanasema badala one of them is said to have come through Isabanian border up to Nakuru, akasema, and I must conclude, akasema kwa hoteli moja pale owned by a cousin ya Rigiji, asema naomba chai, naomba chai. Akamwangalia, akasema, kampatia kikombe kimoja na siagi, mkate wa siagi. Tanzania suave, kapatiwa. Kamaliza, Mtanzania alikuwa na njaa kidogo, kasema, naomba uniongezee. Watu wote na kama, sikiza bwana, hapa kuna cha bure. Hapa kuomba, uombaji ni kula hapa na kulipa. Hakuna cha kuomba hapa. The suave Tanzanians thinking the Kenyan Gen Zs were from Mars. And you see, they even now, unfortunately, arrest Kenyans who are working ordinarily kwa mahoteli, and they think sasa hawa, they are part of, these are the people who have awakened. The Gen Zs everywhere have woken up because they are demanding transparency. Just like JB Muturi has said it, put it so clearly, that they, not just in Tanzania, in Madagascar. Did you not see Sheikh Hasina, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, escape by helicopter to India? Because the Kenyan Gen Zs had said, I've actually said that example, of course, recently in Nepal and other places. We are living in very interesting times. Times that if we don't catch up with the aspirations of the young people who are demanding change,